Welcome, Chloe Sachs, to the Dish with Dina podcast. What a pleasure it is to have you with me today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited too. And one of the main reasons I'm excited is because we were connected through our very dear colleague, Stephanie Shane. I've mentioned her before. Telebasa, I believe, is who she goes by now. We talked about her a few times in some of the past episodes because she sends a lot of people my way. And she was also my very first guest interview back when I started this podcast some 5 years ago. So thanks, Stephanie, for watching this, so much for putting us in touch with each other. Chloe, share with us a
Yeah.
little bit about what you are, who you are, where you're at, and then, of course, we'll dive a little bit deeper into your details of what you're doing these days.
I'm in Williamsburg right now. I am a certified yoga instructor and health coach. I'm also the founder of the Body Sync app, which I know we'll talk more about, but it's a women's fitness and health coaching app where I use yoga and the health coaching principles to provide holistic health strategies for busy women in high stress jobs like we all are, juggling everything that we need to.
Yeah, we're not at a loss for stress these days. Like me, you weren't always in this particular field. Can you walk us through that progression? What took you from what you started with or what you were going to school for, and then how you came about working in this profession that you are now?
I started my career in advertising. So I worked at some of the top ad agencies in New York, which was exactly what I wanted to do right out of college. I learned so much. It is a very high intense industry, and so you learn very quickly. I managed clients, so I was an account manager, and it was amazing. And everyone is just so creative and going on productions and shoots, and it was really fun. I had always struggled with the stress aspect of it. I have been practicing yoga for 13 years now. I started in high school, and it's always kind of helped me stay grounded. I took a little break from it once, work was getting really crazy, and I actually came back to it a couple years ago and got my certification. That then kind of catapulted me into like reevaluating what I want in my life. And I then decided that I needed to kind of go in that direction of, I really wanted to share with other women, especially how easy I mean, it's not always easy, but there are so many tools available for you, like yoga, breath work, to help balance everything. And so that's kind of where I wanted to go and share that with other people.
I really love when people can acknowledge things that bring them joy and then they go and kind of one up that connection to it. So, like me, I've talked about this before. I was struggling with some of my own issues around health and wellness and some illnesses that I was dealing with. And I got really interested in just learning about the human body and the way that food, nutrition kind of play a role with all of that, but also habits play a role with a lot of our choices and the way that our body understands the stress levels and how it deals with all that stuff. And that's what ended up how I ended up with becoming a dietitian. And so I really appreciate that you had already been a practitioner of yoga for such a long time and then you decided to go into the certificate training. Can you tell us a little bit about that too? Like I know there's different levels of things and different ways, just like anything. Like how do you access something? So if anybody is looking to have a different set of skills in their back pocket, what might be some of the things that they can do, or how did you go about doing it, if you don't mind sharing?
As far as the yoga, there's so many different trainings. You just have to make sure it's like the proper, you start with the 200-hour yoga alliance. I did it through Core Power, which is a pretty big corporate studio. Their education is top notch. Like I was so happy I did it there, and it was in person. I think a lot of people do the online training, and that in person is key to not only get the most bang for your buck because you're paying a lot of money for it, and also to really be immersed, and you just learn quicker in person. But it's 200 hours, so it's a lot, and that's also including practicing on your own, and it was within 3 months, so it's intense. As far as the health coaching, there are also a lot of health coaching trainings. I did months and months of research. I ended up doing it through the Catalyst Institute. There's not many that are have the proper like board certified programs, and Catalyst is one of them. Mind Body Green is another one that's really good, it's like specifically in New York. So just making sure that you're doing the research, because there are a lot of, especially health coaching trainings out there that are expensive, but they're not properly reviewed by the board.
We've discussed on this podcast too a lot of the things about scope of practice, and in certain cases in certain states, the licensure laws are a little bit more relaxed
Yeah.
in certain fields. And so this is like anything. I could be a personal trainer, I could be a nutritionist, I can call myself anything I want to, and I don't necessarily have to follow through the proper protocols to go through. But then ultimately, am I doing more harm than good if somebody ends up using
Yeah.
my services and I can't really see that through versus somebody who's gone through the proper set of skills and the more formal training and come away with an actual like certification of something that is overseen by a board or a standard of regulations. Because again, we
Yeah.
don't want to do anybody a disservice, but sometimes you never know. And I'm glad that you did the research for yourself in that. So, Chloe, walk us through a current week in the life of you. There's a lot of stuff that you're juggling. What are the things that you're focusing on? We'll talk first just about professional stuff, and then we'll talk a little bit more about personal stuff. So, what are some of the things that you do on a Monday through Friday or whatever your hours of operation would be?
Yeah. The cool thing now about working for myself is every week is different. I have my clients that I meet with, I incorporate movement like as like, okay, this is part of my job now. Like I have to take care of my body. So I do yoga, weight training, or boxing in the mornings to start my day. And then I'm able to kind of get back to my desk and meet with clients. I have, I try to block out different times on my schedule to focus on social media, my weekly newsletter, and then also event planning. I love playing events, especially for my community in New York. So whether that's a community yoga class or trying to bring different brands and partners together locally, I find a lot of joy in that. So a lot of outreach there as well.
The outreach is something that I think before we hit record, I was talking to you about as well, that I would love to get back into that because just like you said with the yoga training, things can be virtual, but it feels like such a greater way to connect with people. And just to see people from the neck down is so exciting
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
instead of just these floating heads that we see. So the events that you're putting together are local to you because you, like I am, are in New York City. Are you doing outreach through just social media, just newsletters? Are you putting flyers out to different community boards? Like, how do you normally get the word out that you're throwing together something and making sure people are showing up to it?
Yeah, a lot on social media, in the newsletter, especially like, the nice thing about partnering with another business is that they'll also promote it as well. So that's really helpful. Um, Sometimes I'll put, paid support behind it on Instagram. I try not to do that as much because it's not always as successful, especially if it's not like super targeted on Instagram. And that's also something I need to learn, how to be better about that. I also try to join these different community wellness communities. Shanti House is one that I've recently become a member of, and it's for founders. So, having a community where there's group chats and you can, share information about your business or events, stuff like that is really cool to be intertwined with, just to kind of, especially as you're growing a community.
Right. Just, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Let your voice be heard, ask people what it is that you're looking for. And as we often say, how can we be of service to others? So it would be great, yes, if I can make some money and have a successful business, but it's also about the outreach and also linking up with like-minded people too, who we know we all share kind of like a common vision or a common mission that helps people with
Yeah.
their health and wellness. So talk to me a little bit about is it one-on-one and or group coaching and clients that you're working with right now? Like what exactly is the frame of how you're engaging with your clients?
Yeah, so the cool thing about the app, so I created this app where I have a whole movement library full of yoga classes, yoga sculpt, strengthening. I have these 5-minute morning routines, which just incorporates breath work, like light movement, and you end in affirmations, and it's 5 minutes. All my videos, I think there's one 45-minute, they're all under 30. And that was meant to be so that it's really easy for people who say, I have no time to work out. you do have 10 minutes sometimes, so I think just making it that much easier is helpful. So I also have, a meal library meditation. So that is complementary to the health coaching programs that I offer. So I offer a 6-month program where I meet with my clients monthly, but they also have access to me 24/7 through the chat within the app. And, every week we're checking in, I'm scheduling fitness and nutrition plans depending on their goals. I think it's really important that people know that they don't have to, work out every day if that's not part of their goals. Like I always encourage my clients that our plans are based on what they want to do, and I help guide them to the goals. So I think, if you're meeting with a health coach and they're just telling you things to do, and that's not incorporated in their life and their normal schedule, they're most likely not going to do it and you're not going to see success. So my whole thing is really incorporating it into their real life and, working with their schedule, understanding if they're a morning person or a night person, because that also helps productivity and other aspects of their life as well.
And consistency is always key, as we tend to say around here too.
Yeah.
The one size fits all approach is something that we recognize in our profession as well. It's yes, there are dietary guidelines. Yes, depending on the condition, the allergy, the life cycle that you're going through, there might be some recommendations of protocols to follow. But just like you said, every person is an individual human with so many different factors and nuances that I love that kind of customization spin that you put on it to make sure that you are meeting people where they're at and
Yep.
not making it the square peg round hole type of
Yeah.
thing. So out of, one of the things that you shared with me too, I think in the information you sent to me in the contact form was about sleep, like huge, huge thing about sleep. And I feel the same way. When it comes to non-negotiables, obviously movement is one of those things that you're implementing, like you mentioned before, even before your day starts, you're getting that time for yourself to make sure that your body flows and you're kind of in tune and in check with that. Talk to me a little bit about your sleep routines, especially with juggling a business and depending on how on you might be, because your clients are on an app. They could be all over the country, different time zones and so on, being on call 24/7 through the chat. How do you set boundaries for yourself to make sure that you're getting the proper sleep that you need, Chloe?
I have always prioritized sleep. And I think that starts when you're young and growing up, because that was actually something my mom always prioritized for me. Like, even in high school, you sleep in a little bit later in high school, like even 11, but she would never wake me up. She would never be like, "You're wasting your day away." And that ingrained in me because I also then learned I do need a lot of sleep. I don't sleep in until 11 o'clock. I wish that would be amazing. But I then learned I actually do need a lot of sleep. I'm not a night person. I'm actually more like late morning person. So like 8 a.m. Do not give me a 5 a.m. morning routine because I will not do it. I need about 9 hours of sleep to like normally function. And obviously that doesn't happen every night, but I really, I am so in tune with my body now that I notice if I get 2 nights of seven hours of sleep, my productivity and energy is drastically declining. So the sleep hygiene is super important. It's scientifically proven that if you go to bed around the same time every night, and I tell my clients, like, maybe let's start with 2 nights or 3 nights. It doesn't have to be every night, but that helps your circadian rhythm. And so I try to get in bed by 9, super cold room, sometimes a fan, making sure it's super dark, and trying to put my phone away at least 15 to 20 minutes before I go to bed. I think some people say like an hour. That's amazing if you can do that. It's really hard for people. So I also usually tell my clients, like, even if it's like 15 minutes before you go to bed, just put your phone away, because that helps cue expect also, your melatonin levels to increase. Because your body's like, okay, now it's time for bed. So I love sleep and I find it really interesting. It's something that I'm continuing to study.
I am too. That's one of the things about what I'm working with. People just come to me thinking, okay, you're going to give me a meal plan. And my first question is always, what's your sleep and stress
Yeah.
like? Because there's no way you're going to function and be able to prioritize everything else and or even make proper decisions around your food and nutrition, or if you are not getting the proper quality and quantity of sleep, you're not going to want to get up an hour early to go work out. So it'll throw off everything. So Chloe, I know we just started at the time of this recording, we just started into entering into the summer
Yeah.
season. And I
Yeah.
know you have some insights into how you would like to maybe have our audience be a little bit more aware of, or the approach, the gentle approach to take as they enter into this new season. Can you share with us what your thoughts are about all of that?
Yeah, so I really love this idea of optimizing your energy and body for the summer. And what I mean by that is optimizing your energy so that you can be extra productive as the season changes. And I really like this shift and reframe of focusing on that rather than the summer bikini body. Because I think every summer women have these very ambitious goals to try to get, beach ready. They want to feel good because it's nicer out. You're wearing shorts and, tank tops. But I think that's just kind of, it's not like in anymore. Like the industry is shifting into, how are you feeling? How can you keep your energy up so that you can be productive at your job and kill it? There are really easy ways to do this, and one is by shifting your routine with the season. And that includes being more in tune with your body and what new foods you might be craving due to the temperature changes, and how to stay consistent with those health routines, especially as you might start becoming a little bit more stressed with all of the things and responsibilities that you have to do the summer. And that can include traveling. And the longer, weekends, you're seeing family and friends, and there's more happy hours after work. And so the most I help educate them, with, and also implementing small, realistic changes. And so one thing that I first want to talk about is your morning routines, which I know I just talked about. You don't have to be a morning person to have a morning routine. It's you're starting your day. Like this is where you're setting the tone for your energy. So we know we have these cortisol hormones that increase your stress levels. When you feel stressed, you have more cortisol hormones flowing through your body. They're released by your adrenal glands, which are right above your kidneys. When you wake up, your cortisol levels drastically increase. And that's normal. It's helping you wake up. But there are certain things that people do in the morning that can make them skyrocket at an abnormal rate. And that sets the tone for the rest of the day of how stressed you're going to be. So there are a couple of things that you can do. Light exposure right when you wake up. You don't also have to necessarily go outside. It's really hot this week. It's like already 90 degrees in New York. Sitting by a window, having your coffee, not just staring at your phone, looking at the TV. Another thing is movement. I have these 5-minute morning routines. It's literally 5 minutes. And you start with breath work, which is going to activate that vagus nerve to help just relax your body. And then, it's light movement, ending in affirmations. So you're just mentally in a positive note. And then what are you eating? So there are a lot of people that don't eat in the morning, and that's okay. Do not force yourself to eat if you just feel full and you're going to feel icky after. But definitely within, 2 hours of waking up, you should boost your metabolism with some fiber, some protein. It doesn't have to be a lot. Um, I'm a big proponent right now of like flaxseed powder. You can, incorporate that into oatmeal, just getting that fiber to kind of help you along. And that's also going to prevent bloating later in the day. And also just making sure that you're not drinking coffee on an empty stomach because it's a lot of acid to start the morning.
That is one of my big adjustments to people's morning routine, the kicking off of I skip it or I just go right into coffee. And sometimes it's not just coffee, it's like a highfalutin caffeinated beverage with all the bells and whistles in it. So very high in refined sugars or on, like you said, nothing wrong. You want to treat it like dessert, treat it like dessert. It's cool, but on an empty stomach, first meal out of the gate, we really want to set the tone for the rest of your day and not end up kind of giving your gut something a little bit too shocking to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Hydration is a big one too, right,
Yep.
Chloe? Like making sure you're staying
Yep.
hydrated. A lot of people, since you're coming at this angle of from work, a lot of times I'll hear from people, well, I don't have time to go to the bathroom, and that's why I try to, sometimes I forget to drink or whatever. And I laugh at this a little bit because as a former smoker, I definitely know myself and other people, we would make time to go have a cigarette break. So I don't understand that mentality or that reasoning behind, like, I'm not allowed to walk away and use the restroom because I'm
Yeah.
drinking and I have to get up every 45 minutes. In fact, would you share a little bit about that as far as like the sedentary aspect versus letting yourself get up every few hours or a couple of hours and making sure that you are stretching your legs, you are moving? Tell us a little bit about the benefits of not just being inactive through the whole entire day and kind of being in the zone of your computer while you're at work.
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, I my whole career in advertising, we wouldn't even get up to get lunch. Like you just eat at your desk. And I think there are small changes that you can make and it's slowly over time. So I think a lot of times a lot of people will just give um opinions about what they should do. Like you should be stretching like every hour. That's just not realistic. So I think what I'm about to say, maybe start it once a week and just try it. I think during lunch is like the perfect time where even if you're eating at your desk, it's really hard to answer email and eat. So you know that you're going to be eating and not being able to type. And so just pop your headphones in and just listen to a guided 5 minute meditation. And I think a lot of people think a meditation is like you have to quiet your mind. It actually, a lot of times, has to do with breath work. And so I even have all my meditations on the app are 5 minutes because that's also just as long as I can do. I'm working up to it, but I'm not perfect. So activating the breath work and what that does is it activates the vagus nerve, which is part of your parasympathetic nervous system. So that's your rest and digest, as you might have heard it. It helps just de-stress your body. It helps you relax. So it's the only nerve that runs from your brain to every single large organ in your body. And so once you activate that vagus nerve, you're able to relax because when you're stressed, guess where the vagus nerve is sending signals that, okay, your brain is stressed, it's going straight to your gut. Your brain is stressed, it's going straight to your stomach, it's going to your heart. And that's why you feel other physical symptoms like when you're stressed, your heart starts to race, you start to get a stomach ache, you're nauseous, you get bloated. So if you were to do one thing, if it's not moving, stretching, walking around, also, maybe drinking water is a good excuse to get up and move your body. Breath work is amazing, even if it's just 5 minutes, and you're going to de-stress and not feel all those horrible symptoms that most people feel every day.
It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be empty out everything in your cabinets and start from scratch, or completely empty out your calendar and do a whole bunch of new things
Yeah.
that feel very, very foreign to you. Just like these small little incremental changes that over time really work up. And for followers of this podcast, we have talked about the gut brain axis and the vagus nerve millions of times. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
that everybody is familiar. But if you're not, at least Chloe just kind of introduced you to it, explaining about how important it is. It's so true. Chloe, so let's talk a little bit about maybe marketing and the aspect from a business standpoint, and maybe also what you may be seeing as either hot topics or things that you want to address that maybe come up a lot, whether it's through your clients' feedback for when you're working with them or things that you're noticing.
The theme of feeling like you have to completely do a whole reset. I think you get so many bombarding advice from people on Instagram. And one thing that I really try to focus with my clients is it is so easy to feel overwhelmed. I do. Some days I'm like, I hear something new and I'm just like, how can I restart now? Like with this new information of even if it's as simple as like you need to be doing the sauna like a couple times a week or the cold plunges, or you should take these supplements, or this thing is now bad for you, which we were just told it was okay. So I think what I want to do is just educate people to a point where they can make their own decisions. That's the best decision for their life. And that comes with education and also learning how to be in tune with your body. So that's another like aspect of my health coaching program is what does that actually mean to be in tune with your body? And that's where the yoga comes into it. And you don't have to practice yoga to be in tune with your body. There are other areas and principles that we talk about, whether it is the breath work, intuitive eating. So, journaling symptoms of, how you feel after you eat or and stuff like that. And I think I just want to debunk the idea of just because someone who says something on social media doesn't also mean that they have the certifications or even know what they're talking about. And they also say, like, this worked for me, this will work for you. That's absolutely not true. And coming back to the idea of trying to optimize your energy and productivity instead of getting that summer body, if someone says, like, you can get these abs in 6 days, I promise you that won't happen. And then you're just left feeling, horrible about yourself and guilty. And so I think focusing on being in tune with your energy, how to fuel your body, shift with the season, but make it really small changes, just so you're setting yourself up for success.
I think one of the common themes that happens a lot in these discussions here is this understanding of commitment to ourselves. And I know you had, I think, a reel recently on Instagram about how do you prioritize something that might not feel
Yeah.
natural for you, even if it is just 5 minutes or so. And so this discussion around, motivation, inspiration, commitment, prioritization, we really try to encourage people, if not now, then when? When is it? And I don't want to sound like I'm coming at it from a luxurious standpoint. It literally is, no matter who you are in whatever stage of life, no matter what your budget is, it's so important just to slow down for a minute if you can and recalibrate, like you said, Chloe, kind of like get in tune with your body or slow down your breath or ease into the stages of whatever you're going to be developing for yourself as far as habits are concerned. So what could somebody do, right? Let's give a little bit, maybe like helpful tips. What
Yeah.
could somebody do if they do end up being like, I don't have the time, and or I'm juggling a million responsibilities, or I work different jobs, or I have three kids to take care of, et cetera, et cetera. Where can they come at it from a standpoint of their calendar or productivity space,
Yeah.
implementing that?
Also depends on like what your goals are. So if you say you have no time to cook healthy meals, let's start with food first. There obviously meal prepping. Everyone's kind of talk about meal prepping. That also doesn't mean you have to be cooking for like 3 hours on a Sunday night. I love having these like meal formulas that you can kind of pick and choose from. I actually have like this workbook that has these three separate formulas, whether it's, protein, veggie, and a healthy fat, or a veggie, protein, and a carb. And then you have a list of foods. And so all you have to do is pick maybe like two proteins, two veggies, and cook those on Sunday. And that's maybe takes like 45 minutes. And then you don't have to make the entire meal, but the next night, grab the different ingredients, put it together with some rice or a different sauce, so you have all the ingredients already made, and then you just have to assemble it. That takes like 5 minutes. So you definitely have time to do that. I think where people come up with a block is it's just a new routine and you just have to try it once. And also having accountability, whether it is from a health coach, a dietitian, or support from your family. So talking with your partner, or if you have kids, like, let's make this a fun thing on a Sunday or something like that. I think as far as movement, you have to become in tune with your body to decide if you're a morning or a night person. So if you're a night person, maybe you try these 5-minute morning routines at night right before bed, and you're at least just stretching your body. I also like having these workday shutdown routines. And I also hate saying the word routine over and over again. It makes it sound like a long thing, but you can write down a couple things that bring you joy. So whether that's going on a walk, calling a parent or your kid or whoever, a friend, um, You can write your to-do list for the next day. Whatever helps you feel productive and able to shut your computer and put it away so that you have a separation from your day to your night. And that can also include, doing a quick workout as well. So it can also be like 10 minutes. I'm sure people are scrolling for 10 minutes when they say they don't have time. So it's all about prioritizing. Do you want to prioritize your job or your health? And I think you can still be really good at your job and still prioritize your health. I think that's a huge mental reframe that I've been trying to work with my clients in my community. And also just know that people who are posting fitness workouts on Instagram and they're doing their makeup and they're super high energy and excited to work out, know that that's not always the case. Like there are so many times where I'm dreading to move my body. I don't even want to change out of my PJs in the morning. And so I just do a workout in my pajamas and I'm dreading it through the whole entire thing. But the change is right after. I am so proud of myself that I did it. I feel better and I feel stronger because I'm putting the work into my body. So I think there's a lot of like mental reframes and shifts that come into making a new routine.
A few things for me come out of that. Number one, maybe if you're listening to this and this does resonate with you, or you're the type of person that keeps saying, I just can't and I don't have the time or whatever, here's where we might want to challenge you of doing exactly what Chloe just mentioned too. Maybe take an audit or an inventory of what's going on in a week of the life of you. What is realistically holding you back? What are unrealistically things being dumped on you that you can maybe delegate or just say, enough is enough, good enough is fine. Like I can't get to the point of finishing all of this or being perfect at something, whether it's work or responsibilities, and seeing where things can shift. If you don't have an hour, then 10 minutes during the course of a day is sometimes also okay too. I'll give an example today. We're having this recording here. I'll have a short break in about an hour and then I'm back to back with patient sessions and then I have an event going to at the end of the night. And so realistically today, this might not work. It might not work for me to be as engaged in some of my productivity or my habits, but I know I can still fit in a few different things, or I can stop and get something kind of more convenient to eat that I am still in control of, whether it's a yogurt or a sandwich or something that I can kind of throw together. I love the mix and match approach too. I love kind of setting out some ingredients ahead of time and then putting them in different things like a bowl of something or whatever is your meal one night kind of reassembles or is reconstructed into something else the next
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
So really coming at it from a point where what works best for you. But I think the issue here is if also the challenge to tell people that if you keep saying I can't or it won't. Well, okay, either one, maybe now's not the time for you, and so just let it go, right? Realistically speaking, maybe it's not the time. Maybe you have to wait until the end of the year or whatever this thing is that you're dealing with resolves. Or maybe challenge yourself as well. Maybe you're not the person that's always in charge of everything and you really have to let go of those reins. And can you sit in that discomfort of what happens when I'm not doing the thing that always makes me feel like I'm in charge of all the stuff and I'm allowing myself to take time for myself. So, see where that can work best for you and reach out to us if you need any help or support. Chloe, tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about where you see your business or the services that you're providing. Where do you see all of this going in the future if you have, even if you're just, fantasizing or visualizing the next 5, 10 years of what you're doing?
It's really fun to think about that now because I'm, newly growing this business. I want to grow my clientele. I want to help as many women as possible of all ages. I have a lot of clients going through menopause or different stages, even post. And I think even that aspect of getting more into, I'm doing like a hormone training right now and getting more into that niche of what does hormone balancing mean and educating people on that because I think, you hear a lot about like balance your hormones, but what does that actually mean? Like we have a lot of hormonal processes in our body that a lot of people don't realize, and it's all connected to every aspect of your health. So sleep, what you eat, movement. And so that's really cool. So coming at it from that angle, I think is really interesting, and I want to move into that. I'm actually setting up a fall reset program. The fall is the new Year's, and so I want to help women reset this fall. So I'm excited. I'm working on that right now, getting that set up. As far as 5 years, I would love to open a brick and mortar health studio. And so that would kind of resemble the app in person. And so you get, all your yoga, Pilates, strengthening classes, very personalized to like different stages of life. So postnatal classes, classes for older women, which I feel like there aren't enough of, especially in New York. I feel like everything's for like younger women, like right out of college, which just like isn't realistic for everyone. And so pairing that with in-person health coaching and just help support people in their journey, because I think the accountability aspect is really important. I think a lot of women try to do it on their own. They maybe are successful for a year and then it falls off. They lose all the confidence. And so I want to help women get back the energy they need to prioritize their health. And I think the future of wellness is in person. We've been seeing a lot of upticks in in-person events, even with AI becoming more ingrained in everything. People are going to be craving in-person events and community aspects. So I think that's the future for me. We'll see.
Yeah, I love that future for you. And I also think it's good to speak it into existence because
Yeah, there we go.
for
It's out.
whoever knows is reaching out to you and connecting with you and saying that's exactly what I'm looking for. What a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah.
And I do love that also, like depending on if you end up branding the body sync in other people coming to join you as a group or it's a cross country thing that people can implement into their own studios. I think that's something that's going to be kind of
Yeah.
fun to watch as well, Chloe. Is there anything that we haven't talked about, anything that I didn't ask you that you think you want to share before we officially wrap up?
I want women to know that if they're feeling stressed, low confidence, just often sad, not like their old selves, that's not your new baseline norm. Like that doesn't need to be your new norm. And I think a lot of women feel that way, especially when they're juggling their career, if it's their family, friends, and the people pleasing tendencies, which I also struggle with. That doesn't need to be your new norm. And I think you have to learn to start prioritizing yourself. And it's okay if you feel guilty at the same time. That's something that it gets easier. But with every yes you say to something else, you're saying no to something that was either your sleep, or you're saying yes to a dinner night out, and so you're saying no to eating a healthy meal at home. And so it's like this give and take of understanding, what do you want for your life? Like, is it all these external things that are dictating it, or are you actually the driver? And so I think that's a huge facet of like my health coaching, is feeling empowered to kind of live the life that you want.
Oh my gosh, you just gave me chills because I think I recently have been struggling a little bit with, okay, so I guess this is it, huh? This is how the rest of my decades are going to go. And that it's never too late to start, even with whatever confines or restraints that you might have from this point forward, whether it's responsibilities or different work environments or different levels of mobility issues. Like I know I'm recovering from a lot of injuries and new fun things like osteoarthritis, and I have to just be
Yeah.
conscientious of how I implement stuff, but it still can be done. It still can be done. So I really appreciate that takeaway. So thank you, Chloe. My last two questions are my two-part questions that end our episodes are always, what is on your plate today, Chloe? So share with us when we officially wrap up. What is the next thing that you are working on, whether it's professionally or personally? And then what is the next meal that you'll be eating?
Well, I also love to eat, so my meals are already planned out. I'm going to have a turkey and cheese lettuce wrap. Usually I'll have a bowl, but this week it's a little bit lighter because it's really, really hot out. So I'll have some like avocado, some nuts in there, and like a nice lemon vinaigrette. I love making homemade dressing. As far as business wise, I actually have just a cute little branding photo shoot tomorrow with a good friend. Her name's Kieran, and she's an awesome photographer. I have a session with her tomorrow to shoot some pictures for the fall reset program. So I'm excited. That's tomorrow, so I'm gonna prep a little bit for that after a client call.
Well, best wishes with everything. I'm so glad again for Stephanie putting in us in
Yes.
touch with each other. And this has been so fun getting to know you. Thank you so much for being on here with me. And I really hope all the best. I hope anybody who is in need of hearing what you had to say has heard it and is ready to take some steps forward into moving in the direction of supporting their best selves. So thank you, Chloe, for being here.
Thank you so much, Dina. I love speaking with you.